Hello there. If you are a gamer, this video can potentially change your life. It could potentially improve it because I'm going to be sharing an idea that can not just help you quit video games, but to also gamify your real life. And what I mean by gamify, how to turn your life into a video game, is basically turn your life into a game that you're going to enjoy playing in, that you're going to enjoy living in. And let's quickly break down games. How I came to this idea was more so from some of the challenges that I had in quitting video games myself. I grew up playing video games. I love video games, or I used to love video games. In fact, I still love watching every once in a while, hearing about the latest game, and part of me wants to go get it. But obviously, if you're going to quit video games, you don't have to stop cold turkey, but the more you have it available, the more you have access to it. So if you don't buy it in the first place, then you're not going to have to worry about it. So with that said, we're going to talk about the gamification of video games. I spent quite a lot of time playing video games. In fact, if I still played video games, it would probably be my ruin. It would probably prevent me from doing a lot of the stuff and the things that I want to do, that I enjoy in my life, that I enjoy and love doing. Going out, traveling a little bit, seeing other towns, visiting other cities, enjoying quality food, enjoying time with family members and people and friends and all of that. So there's a lot of things that I would love to be doing, and writing my books, creating my podcast. I'm not trying to brag about all those things, because those are all things that you are fully capable of too. And at the end of the day, we all basically are capable of all those things. And with that said, what are we more capable of doing if we had just quit video games? But quitting video games is one thing. There's plenty of ideas out there that help you, that talk about addiction and that talk about the serious life improvement plans and things like that. But this isn't anything like that. This is more about not quitting video games, but understanding what it is about video games that make us so obsessed with them, that make us so engaged with them. And aside from all the stories, aside from all of the amazing stories, the graphics that we like to experience, the monster and the challenge and all of that, what are the core keys of a video game that really keeps us engaged? Because we can watch a movie, we can watch a show, but we can sometimes get bored of certain types of shows. There's some shows that keep us so engaged for every single season, and then some shows that we watch through a couple seasons and that's it, and then the viewership drops off. There's some things that we could do every single day in a video game that we would not like to put our time into for our personal lives or our professional lives, our jobs, our careers. And sometimes the job makes sense, especially if you aren't in a job that you enjoy, that you're in a job that you dislike, that you don't have fun in, and you don't like your boss, and you're just trying not to get fired, but you don't really care if you get fired, in a situation like that. So there's plenty of reasons why you would not want to do your best in that type of situation, and then spend the rest of your time playing video games. But this is not a judgment or evaluation of video games. So me personally, I played tons and tons of video games. I grew up on video games, and it probably would have been my ruin if it had not been for me starting to ask the question, what makes me spend all of this time in this video game? What makes me want to spend all of this time in this video game when I could potentially be spending this time doing something else? And it's not like I was doing anything significant in the video games. There would be something like collect 100 of this, collect 200 of that, go to this town, fight this monster, collect their things, and then bring it back to me to show proof. Or go find this person and come back to me, right? These things, these activities aren't really anything that I couldn't achieve in real life. Like, obviously I wouldn't be fighting a monster, but you could go take on another challenge. You could go collect items for resale on like eBay or Etsy. You could go to the store and find items that you can use to build or create a fake sword. like, or a real sword, whatever that is, whatever it is that you want to do. So I asked myself the question, what makes me do this in a video game instead of in real life? Like, what makes me really want to spend time doing all of these things? Because I could be spending time improving my life, doing other stuff in my life. And there was so many things that I wanted to do that if I was spending time playing games, I wouldn't have been able to accomplish them. So I came to these three basic conclusions, these three basic ways that you can start to turn your life into a video game that you're going to enjoy playing and living. So with that said, we've got the idea, the concept of gamifying life, the gamification of life. And the first step that we're going to be talking about is setting results. And what I mean by that is in every video game, what you'll find is that within the video game, there's this concept of having a result. Most of us know about goal setting in real life, but most of us really don't know how to set goals effectively and also achieve them. And in some cases, we might even set a goal, but we can't even imagine ourselves doing it, so we don't even bother to try. But in games, you know exactly what you're going to be getting most of the time. You'll talk to somebody, or in a shooting game like Call of Duty, you'll go into that game and you'll play all sorts of missions and things like that, and you'll know that at the end of the mission you're going to get some sort of reward, you're going to get some sort of points, you're going to go higher on the ranking board or whatever. In a role-playing game or something like that, you get the mission. So you get the mission and then this is your reward, so go do it, and then you go back and you get the reward. We can spend hours and hours doing that type of stuff, but what is it that separates us from finding a reward in real life versus finding a reward in a video game? Because technically, if they were as rewarding, they would be equally as rewarding. We would equally want to do both if the amount of activity that was required was as simple for both of those areas. So in connecting these two pieces, why not pursue something in real life? Now, maybe there might be physical limitations. So physical limitations aside, such as being snowed in, not living in a place, like if you want to go collect flowers and you live in a desert, in the middle of the desert, that might be very difficult. But for the most part, you can apply other activities like, I don't know, build sandcastles in the desert, I don't know. But different ideas, right? Different ways to apply this. So find ways to apply this into your life. This idea of setting a result. But the scary thing is in a video game, we can know exactly what result we're going to get and how it's going to benefit us. We're going to get the sword that's going to make us stronger in the video game. But in real life, what we have is the situation of, well, do I really know I'm going to get that result? I could just go out and buy something and I get the result. So if we set these goals, and it's not just about goal setting, but if we set the result that we want, and if I go collect, if I build 30 sandcastles in a beach, what result am I going to get? Is it just personal fulfillment, or am I going to be able to get a cool sword that helps me save the world? So with that example in mind, we have to start to think about how we can set results in our personal lives. Usually jobs, schools, it's already created for us. We know the result. We're either getting an A, B, C, D, or F. But those results aren't as rewarding as in video games, because what if we don't get the A or B? Then it sucks. So in thinking about that, how can this benefit you? To think about goal setting, but not goal setting as in, okay, well, I'm going to accomplish this by X date. Think about it as some potential result that you can have. So if it's you want to become a better people person, then maybe you set a goal of going to a coffee shop 3 times a week. And the result is that you become more comfortable being around people. And this leads to the next idea. The result is, setting that result is knowing exactly what you want that outcome to be for yourself personally. It could be financial, it could be personal, it could be professional, it could be with relationships, it could be a personal goal or whatever. But the second idea here that applies to that carries into that, is to set activity goals. Because in order to reach those results, you have to have certain activities. In games, they are already handed to us. They hand us basically our entire life plan within a video game. We're going to play through all of these levels, reach level 95, level 100, and then we're going to be able to do all this other cool stuff. And that entire world is already planned, and we get to experience all that. We know exactly what we're getting into. It's exciting, it's fun. We get to get stronger and stronger. We know that's going to happen, and we know that's the result, and it's exciting to us. So how do we create that result in our real life? The idea is gamification, turning into a video game. Maybe start to create that for ourselves. And people who design games maybe have an easier time doing this for your personal life or your professional life. But taking that down a level, what else do games offer us? Games offer us this entire principle of having all of these things already set for us. We know what result we're going to be getting. We know how to get there. Or somebody tells us. There's a non-player character that tells us. Or there's a mission or a specific thing that's set that tells us what we have to accomplish. And how we accomplish it might vary, but they say, oh, go fight 100 of these monsters and collect their eyeballs. Or go, you have to fight and win first place in this many games to reach this rank. Or whatever it is. So we know exactly what we have to do. So the second part is setting these activity goals, or setting these milestones, setting these activities for ourselves. And that is the hard part. So what if we set, hey, I need to write 100 words a day, or I need to call 5 friends each day to stay in touch, or I need to call my parents and talk to them at least once a week or more often, depending on how often you talk to your parents. Or I should eat something healthy one more time than I usually do, and the result that I want, that I can see myself getting, is either this loss of weight or this improvement in my life and my relationships and my career. So this is the idea. You're getting the result, which in games they're already handed to us. Why is a result in a video game more rewarding than most results in real life? Chances are because we know exactly what we're getting the benefits, we're knowing how it's going to improve us. So if we can apply that into our real life results, there can be a whole world of opportunity there. And why do we go ahead and do those things? Because the path is clear. The path to achieve some of those missions, those goals, those results is very clear. I just need to collect 100 flowers and I'm going to get the weapon that helps me beat the next boss. Think about that. Or I need to move up a rank, play 50 more games to move up a rank so I could get this really hot weapon or this hot perk in some games. So with that said, these ideas are ways that you can start to apply ideas from games that keep us playing, that keep us addicted, and I use the term addiction loosely. There's some very serious addictions that people would be very beneficial to end. And there are things like games that, I would call like a low to mid-level addiction, depending on how that's affecting you. If it is affecting you, then it's something to be concerned about. But if it's not, and you just maybe came across this video because you wanted some ideas so that you can improve in some way or reach some goals in your life, your real life outside of the game, then these ideas can be helpful. So with that, finally, the third big idea that we get from games that is not usually typically applied in our real lives is this idea of getting our personal indicators. Now, throughout school and everything, most of us hear indicators of this student is number 1, this student is number 2, and we see that throughout games too, where, oh, this person's the highest ranked, or this person's a top level player, this person's got 1 million views on YouTube, this person has got the most sales this year. So we're constantly pitting each other based on, that type of ranking system. But here's the thing, even in video games, are most people really concerned about becoming the number 1 in a video game? Because a lot of video games have been hacked. And if you don't want to hack, then you might not ever reach those ranks. Or if you don't want to dedicate 40 hours a week, you just want to dedicate 20 hours a week to the video game, you're probably never going to beat that person playing 40 hours a week of the video game. Or if you're only 5 hours. So this topic of that ranking system that we typically know about isn't really that great. But what can you do about that? What's the real indicator that keeps us going? Personal indicators. Because in video games, for example, we can see, well, we're getting faster, we're getting better, our speed has increased from 50 to maxed out at 100. Our strength was 5, and now after 20 levels, I've reached a strength level of 10, and maybe I should improve some other areas. So it's very clear in video games, not just the results that we're getting, not just the activities that we have to do to get those results, but also how it affects us. We know exactly what it takes to level up. We know exactly what it takes to improve. We know exactly whether we're improving or not. If we've, in a video game, if we've killed 500 boars, and I don't condone killing boars in real life. You know, some people are hunters or whatever. That's fine. But I'm just saying, in a video game, if you're killing 500 boars, and I'm not opposed to hunting. I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying don't go out and do that stuff unless you have a license and do it ethically. But with that said, killing boars in a video game, say you got to like kill 500 boars or whatever, or like trolls or orcs or whatever those things are that you have to kill and collect whatever it is, and you know that you're going to level up and you're going to be able to increase your strength, your intelligence, whatever it is that you want for that particular mission or for your character or whatever. Now, thinking about all that, thinking about how this applies, we again know the result that we're going to get. It's not just the NPC or the non-player character or what's already programmed to the game is going to give us a reward. We know the exact result for our physical body. But how do you apply it to real life where we don't have these indicators? Is to simply create them, because you can. Because you can create those indicators. For example, if you're looking to become a fitness person, if you're not a very fit person, you're not athletic, and you want to become more athletic, you want to have a more athletic body, there's literally tools now that can allow you to see how your body moves and how your body reacts. For example, the Garmin heart rate monitor and a watch. You can attach a watch and a heart rate monitor to your body to see your resting heart rate levels. And heart rate helps determine some more health in many ways. And just a disclaimer, always talk to a physician or a doctor before you try any of these ideas. These are just ideas. But if you get a base level of where you're at, you can know what you need to do to improve. So if you see that you're walking down the street and your heart starts to just start beating, it's probably because you're out of shape. Your heart needs to work harder to help you walk than it does for a very fit person. A very fit person could walk and their blood pumping is more efficient, so their heart is probably at your resting rate potentially. So you can see that type of stuff, and when you can visualize it, so say your heart is racing and then over time you start to wear this heart rate monitor and you're able to see, oh, well, I'm walking now, I'm walking more and more, and the heart rate monitor, my heart's beating less and less fast just to go for a walk. And then you can start to improve that way. So that's just an example. Most of us use money as a metric, money as this idea of how we're doing. But there's so many other ways. Your physical levels of energy, the things that you create and do, the ideas that you come up with, the friends and relationships that you make. And that's one thing about video games. I mean, for anything that's like a non-player one or a non-multiplayer, you're not really like making relationships. You're making like fake relationships, which again, I'm not trying to pass judgment on anyone that does whatever they want in a video game, but I'm just saying that there's all these results, these rewards, these opportunities in video games that are not, if we did them in real life, if we did something very similar, like if you're a hunter and you kill 100 boars or 50 boars, like that could be your trophy or whatever. But if you're not a hunter, you want to collect flowers or you want to like go collect wood to build something, that what makes it so much more rewarding in a video game than in real life. And that is the ultimate theory here, the question that's driving all of this. And if you can start to create that in your own reality, start to be able to see the results that you're going to get and set them for yourself, because and there's some stuff that do that for you, like goal setting, but knowing and being able to see the results for yourself, and you can even reward yourself. Like, hey, at the end of this, if I do all of these activities, then I'm going to reward myself for this. People have been doing this for years, but this is just starting to brew of this idea of how games keep us so attached to them and what makes it so that we can't apply that level of thinking into real life to improve our personal lives. And so you got the results, be able to see them. You got the activities. I'm going to do this activity to get to this goal. Games are already set for us, but we can start to do that in our personal lives, and those goals and those results and those activities that we do to reach those results can ultimately be as rewarding. So why not do them in real life? Because that's stuff that you can actually share and do. Unless, like, again, you're a video streamer maybe, or you base your career on video games, then that's different, right? It's a different field, but it could still be helpful. So with that, and then finally, getting some basic measurements of your physical, your physical, mental, how many books you're reading. If you read another book, maybe say that you level up your knowledge. If you run, maybe say that you level up your speed or your endurance. Like, there's simple things like that. And again, getting yourself to go to the gym, those can be much more difficult things. So for some people, so start small. But as you start to build, as you start to grow, just like a video game, you start to tackle these bigger challenges, these bigger obstacles. And you may not be able to run a marathon being out of shape compared to as quickly as you could reach the max level in a video game and get all the highest level equipment, or it might not be as easy physically, but the concepts are the same. I mean, for every video game, it's basically the same. We know what the results we're going to get. We have an idea of what the universe is going to bring. It's going to bring an exciting shooter. We're going to be able to do flips and fight with these cool weapons. We have an idea of what's possible, and we just want to experience it for ourselves, the parts that we don't know. We know the results. Every mission that's given to us, we know the results. We know what we have to do to get there, and we know how we can improve ourselves. We make decisions on how we improve ourselves and our skills, our abilities to get there. And those fundamentals are basically the same, all in different game design ways, but fundamentally the same. And that's where you can start to apply this type of thinking into your personal life, and things could just skyrocket from there and just move on. Because at the end of the day, what we do in real life, there's really no rhyme or reason that a reward that we get in person or in a game should be any more or less than a video game. So what makes us spend so much more time in video games? That's the big question that we have aimed to answer with this video. And with that, I wish you the best. I wish you success, and have a wonderful day.